walk me through why it's taking a group of senators like yourself to convince McConnell to work weekends. I work weekends. I think many Americans work weekends. Why is it taking this push of 14 senators?
Tell you what, many Americans don't just work weekends, they work multiple jobs. I spent 28 years in the private sector before coming to Congress. I'd never heard of such a thing as taking a month off in the summertime, an August recess. You know, my wife taught first grade for a number of years. If the kids aren't behaving well, you cancel recess. Arguably, the Senate's not behaving. We've got a backlog of 260 nominations for President Trump we've got to get completed. It's time to cancel the recess. Stay here and do the work of the people. If you're going to drain the swamp, you got to keep the pumps running in August. Let's stay here and do the work of the people.
Can Americans expect this next funding bill to contain funding for President Donald Trump's border wall?
I hope it does. That's one of the great debates. But speaking of funding, that's a couple things we need to get done here in August. Let's move these nominations through. Second, let's move these spending bills through. It's ridiculous that we were 6 months into the fiscal year this year before the spending bills finally got approved. Can you imagine if you're in business? Can you imagine when I was running businesses for 28 years and I went to the board and says, we're going to wait till we're 6 months into the current year before we pass a budget? You'd be fired. We should fire the Senate, frankly. And the obstruction we're seeing here, frankly, from Chuck Schumer and the Democrats is unheard of. Let's get the spending bills through appropriations on the floor of the Senate, voted for before the end of the fiscal year, which is September 30th.
Many look towards term limits as a potential way to, fire some people. Would you support this?
I would. I believe strongly in term limits. I think people overstay their welcome in Washington, D.C. We should put term limits in. Here's the problem, is that at some point the swamp gets to the members. It just does. You come in here to drain the swamp, and after 2, 3, 4 terms, suddenly that, as they say, that hot tub turns into a cesspool. And that's what's going on here in Washington, D.C.
If you guys are able to sort of clear the spending bill as well as these nominations, what are some of the top line items that you'd like to see getting to the floor?
Well, a couple things. I want to see us defund Planned Parenthood. That's an important priority for me personally and for many Montanans and many Americans. But I tell you what, I want to see a budget that actually balances. One of the broken parts of this process is not only the spending bills late, but we've blown the caps on these spending bills. I voted against the omnibus. Anytime there's an omnibus, it's ominous. Anytime you hear the word omnibus, you got to think about voting no. I hope President Trump vetoes a future omnibus, if there is such a thing, and that's we got to stop that. Go back to the regular order. Shine the light, have transparency in the spending debate, which occurs in the appropriation process. But these backroom deals that happen at the 11th hour are not a good thing for this country. You blow the spending caps, and this is where everybody's pet projects when they get negotiated. It's wrong. It needs to change, and that's why we got to move things to a regular order, get this done before the end of the fiscal year.